What I want to say is that if I look at the possibilities for our economic cooperation and for growth and development in Kosovo, I'm very much convinced that this is one of the places in this region where the biggest potential for future growth, for innovation, and for cooperation with us is lying. And I think that Ambassador Rode already pointed out the impressive positioning of the German economy in your country, but also the impressive development of our cooperation, of our trade, of our investments in the last time. So I think you can see that Germany is economically and politically one of the most important, if not the most important partner for Kosovo, and we are here to stay and to develop this further because we believe in your country and the future and the possibilities which are laying here down in Kosovo for us together. What I also want to say, and this is very important for me, Germany is of course also engaged in all the region. So when you look to the Western Balkan 6, in almost every country, usually the foreign direct investment from Germany is the biggest, or it has the biggest impact on real economy, so to say. Especially, for example, in Serbia, sometimes the investment in numbers is bigger from China, but this doesn't mean that the good jobs are coming with Chinese investment. Usually the economic success and the value chain upgrading is coming with German investment. And I think it's very important for you to see that when I look into the region, I think that the potential which you have in Kosovo is extraordinary because of specific positioning you have as a society. You have a free society with a young population which is not willing to wait anymore, which wants to move. So I think that you can feel here a vibrant society which is always, when I talk to our business community, having very positive impact also on the conviction of our investors to come to Kosovo if the circumstances are right and if the political frames are put in the right way. So I think you can see that Germany is a real Kosovo-believing country, government, and economical sphere. But what I think what is important also to see is that if you look on our cooperation on trade, especially also on investment, of course there is a map between us. And if you look between Germany and Kosovo, not in mind and not in heart, but on the map, there is something in between, which is the region. This is why we strongly believe the right way for the Western Balkans to move forward to the European internal market is to think about the region as a whole, to think about an integration of the region into a common regional market, which is at the same time developing towards the European Union. So if you see, for example, the former enlargement steps which have been done with the big enlargement 2004-2007, especially, you see that especially those countries have been successful who made it possible to become a part of German or European value chain in a, upgrading step by step of the productivity, becoming in a better phase of the value chain. And on the same hand, also being a relevant market itself. And I think it's very clear that each of the Western Balkan 6 countries, each of the economy alone, is not a market which is relevant enough to have an extra argument why companies should go there. But if you look to the region itself, this is different. I don't know actually any investor from Germany who is investing in any of the Western Balkan 6 countries without looking at the potential also in the neighboring countries in the whole region. And you can unleash a lot of potential of investment coming here if we are able to make the framework for investing in Kosovo with having the region in mind more easy and more possible. To be very frank, today a lot of our investors go to Serbia while they want to invest in Serbia and making business with all the region. Let's change that. Let's show the German investors you invest in Kosovo and we build a common regional market which make possible that from here you have success and you achieve things in the region. And this is actually the idea which we are striving for, together with the idea that this pathway towards a common regional market is on the same way leading on the standards of the acquis and bringing each country step by step more close to the European Union, without having the problem that, for example, when taking over standards or taking over procedures, one would wait for the other to have competitive advantages. This is what was always an idea of other methods, that everybody can do what they want, that sometimes nobody would move because they would be afraid to give up competitive advantages if it's going about adaptation of European standards. So better to be later in reforms to have competitive advantages on a low level longer before. So our idea is to let this go together. So if the common regional market can be unleashed, there is big, big potential for each of the economies, and especially also for Kosovo, which is in the middle of the region, in the heart of the region, to just make better GDP, to create better jobs, to have...
I will take at face value most of the things that Manuel said at the beginning. I will disagree slightly with his conclusion that Kosovo in 2 years might be ready technically for SEPA. Technically, we are ready for SEPA now. We still have to pass 3 laws at the parliament. So probably this will be done in less than 2 years. And there is one element where I completely disagree with Manuel, and it has to do with soccer. I think you, Ambassador Rode, and myself have agreed that given your strong preferences for St. Pauli, you don't qualify as a good expert to talk on soccer.
You split the German government.
I offered alternative. When discussing between St. Pauli and Hamburg, I think Bayern Munich is a much better choice. When the war in 1919 was over, we had no single bank in Kosovo, and our international partners had great difficulties to make sure that the money that they have to transfer for their military and civil presence in Kosovo makes it here. And it was difficult to convince a single investor to open a bank. And then we saw the first bank, micro-enterprise bank, being offered as a gift to the then Chancellor of Germany with a 1 million Deutschmark investment, if I'm not wrong. I say a gift because everybody assumed that there is no profit to make there. And this was 1999. Today, 25 years later, I think the assets of this bank are higher than 1 billion euros in only 25 years. And this story, I think, given the magnitude, can easily compare with stories of Elon Musk business or Mark Zuckerberg. In 25 years, from 1 million Deutschmark to 1.2 billion euros in assets, it's a good story to tell. For example, it took Croatia 4 years to go back to the level of GDP that they had in 1990. Macedonia, North Macedonia was more successful. They managed to have this by 1993. But Kosovo only got $2,400 in 2007. So from 1990 to 2007, we were struggling to come back to the level of GDP that we had back in 1990. So 16 years lost in transition. The second story that I want to tell is the story of the last 4 years. In September 2020, the government of Kosovo was collecting, or did collect, 64 million euros from the corporate income tax. On 1st of October 2020, the level of collection on corporate income tax was 64 million. Yesterday, on the same day, 4 years later, we have already collected 156 million euros on corporate income tax at the same tax rate. It's still 10%. Which means that ceteris paribus, other things equal, the profits in my country in the last 4 years have increased by 144%. In late February 2021, the tax authority of Kosovo had registered 355,001 employees. In July 2024, the same authority has registered 425,000 employees, an increase of 70,000 in less than 4 years. Which other country, in percentage terms in Europe, managed to show this impressive increase in the level of employment?
It's truly a pleasure to welcome you all in Pristina. This week is all about German-Kosovan relations and the prospects for the Western Balkans. And I have to say, I like to speak more about business and less about politics sometimes. And today is such a nice occasion. Many of you have been in town already yesterday to attend Zubex, the Suppliers Balkan Expo, for the first time in Pristina. And I'm glad that many of you will also join us tomorrow, not only for the second day of the forum, but also at our reception in the evening, marking our National Day of German Unity. I would say this week is a perfect example of what we are trying to achieve together, and you can put it in one word: to connect. This forum presents an opportunity to get in contact, to deepen relations. It's a platform collaboration to attract investment and to drive growth. The Economic Forum brings together high-level representatives from politics and the economy, both from Germany and Kosovo together, to discuss challenges and opportunities in the context of geopolitical uncertainties. Dear Nora, congratulations again. This forum has grown. The second edition features over 40 distinguished speakers from Kosovo and Germany, over 80% of them holding C-level positions. I'm delighted to see that 100 representatives from German companies are attending the forum. Over 700 participants had registered. And my congrats to the fantastic program you were able to put together with eminent panelists highlighting all the relevant topics. I think these figures speak for themselves, but they are not only proof of the already quite substantial ties between Germany and Kosovo. As you know,